Welcome to another bonus edition of Upon Further Review.
Upon further review,
And in this edition, we'll be talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. And this Week 6 matchup will be happening on October 12th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can catch that on your local CBS affiliates. And these two AFC South rivals will be going at it. There's only one win between the two of them, so either way, these two teams' win total will be doubled after this game, as the Jags are 0-5 and the Titans are 1-4, so they're a combined 1-9. But I'll tell you what, though, I'm still interested in this game, and I'll tell you why. Because I actually think that there's a possibility for lots of fantasy points in this game. I actually have Blake Bortles as my fantasy quarterback, is one of my fantasy fortune picks, and along with Matt Ryan. And then I got Kendall Wright in Tennessee as one of my receivers. I think Tennessee's going to win, but I think the Bortles will have his best game, and I actually give Jacksonville a chance, because these two teams are pretty evenly matched throughout their history, especially as of late over the last, 4 or 5 years. They've been just back and forth. So maybe we see Jacksonville get their first win of the year earlier than they did last year, as they were 0-8 before they got win number 1. And of course, then again, maybe the Titans double their win total. But, the Jacksonville Jaguars so far in the season, it's been disappointing. Of course, shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but they lost, to Philly in Philly. They lost to Washington in Washington. They lost to the Colts at home in Jacksonville. They lost to the Chargers in San Diego. And then they lost last week to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Jacksonville. And they lost by just one possession. They came close, but no cigar. And Blake Bortles' top, passing game was in Week 4 against the Chargers, where he put up 254 passing yards. I think this week he gets the 300 yards. I think he gets a couple touchdowns, and he makes this one interesting. Like I said, any game in football is interesting regardless, and any team can win any given Sunday, and there's a lot of parity in the league, regardless of what some people might say. No team is a bad team. Even the worst team is still a good team. These are still the top football players in the world by far. Even if it is the Titans and the Jaguars. And with the Jaguars, they won their first game in Kansas City, an impressive win in Arrowhead, a tough place to win. They actually made the Chiefs look like garbage in that game, and they look so good, but then they come out the next week in Week 2 and they lose to Dallas at home in Tennessee. Then they go on the road. Two tough games, two tough losses. First going to Cincinnati, almost got shut out by the Bengals. The Bengals, they don't lose in Cincinnati. Then they went to Indianapolis, and that was a team that was determined to get to 500. They lost their first 2 games, then they won their next 2, and that was the second one there that got them to 500 before they then, now are above 500. But so they lost in Indianapolis. Then, they hosted the Browns, and that game last week, I'll tell you, being up by 25 points, 28-3. With, not that much time left before halftime, they let up that touchdown. And then in the second half, the Browns completed the comeback, scoring 26 unanswered points to beat Tennessee in Tennessee. That's going to take the life out of you. It's just a heart-wrenching defeat for Tennessee fans and for the organization. And that right there might be kind of the thing that, leads them to losing to Jacksonville this week, is that just takes the air out of you, losing like that. Of course, there's another way to bounce back, and respond, as it were, and that's to bounce back and to actually come out stronger for it. So we'll see. And actually, Tennessee, they are a well-coached team. It just takes time. A new coach doesn't always have the necessary, talent at hand to turn things around in one season or less. Sometimes it takes a year or 2 or 3. But Winston Hunt is a good coach, no doubt about that. And if anybody can get a team to come back after losing the way they did in Week 5, it is Ken Winston Hunt. But Jacksonville definitely has a chance And let's go inside the numbers, and this is why actually I picked this one to be, kind of a fantasy fortune of fantasy points. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 27th in passing offensive yards per game. The Titans are 19th. When it comes to defense, the Jaguars are 32nd against the pass, and the Titans are 13th. So clearly the edge when it comes to the passing game goes to Tennessee. The thing is, though, with Tennessee, we don't know who's going to be their quarterback in this game. It's not going to be Jake Locker, but will it be Charlie Whitehurst, or will it be Zach Mettenberger, the rookie out of LSU? There are, some rumors, some word out there that maybe he gets his first start over Whitehurst, but we will not know until game time. And that's why I actually couldn't really go ahead and pick their quarterback, because we don't even know who that's going to be. But I think that Kendall Wright will have a big game, as well as Delaney Walker as well. But I still think Bortles will have a good game, even though that Tennessee pass defense is pretty darn good. But now let's look at the run, and the Jaguars are 31st in the run. They are missing Mojo, even though Mojo ain't doing nothing in Oakland. And the Titans, though, they're 13th when it comes to run the ball, because they actually have a decent running game. They got Sean Green, they got Bishop Sankey, the rookie, and they got Dexter McCluster, so they can run the ball. Not the best, but decent for sure. And then when it comes to run defense, the Jaguars are 21st and the Titans are 26th. So both teams are bad when it comes to run the ball. Not very good. Or stopping the run, that is. So the edge when it comes to running goes to Tennessee. It's a slight edge, but they have the edge, although the Jaguars are better on run defense. Overall, between the two, the matchup favors Tennessee when it comes to whether who's going to win the battle in the trenches in the running game. And now we look at points scored. These two teams are abysmal when it comes to points scored. Is the Jacksonville Jaguars are 31st in points scored, and the Tennessee Titans are 29th. But we look at points allowed. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 32nd when it comes to letting up points, and the Titans are 27th. So these two teams let up lots of points. They don't score lots of points, but they let up lots of points. And when bad defenses meet bad offenses, we get high-scoring games. That's what we get. And really, that's why I think there's going to be, lots of points, lots of yards through the air in this game. And on the ground as well. It should just be a free-for-all. Of course, both defenses are actually a lot better than I'm even giving them credit for, or than the numbers even, show. It's actually, they play pretty tough, but just with how, great the talent level is in this league, somebody's got to be last. Not everybody can be first. So, that's why the numbers bear out the way they do. And a team that actually is pretty tough is still going to be 0-5, even though, you wish they could get a win somehow. And I'm really tempted to pick Jacksonville. But as you see, all the numbers are in the favor of the Tennessee Titans. It's all going in their favor. And there's no reason to really go against the numbers other than the potential that maybe Blake Bortles can somehow lift the Jaguars to victory. And their defense, too. I actually have more faith in that defense of Jacksonville just from watching them. I know that they have talent. Despite the numbers, they do have talent on that team. Of course, I'm saying that just because, I know I see them playing hard, and I know everybody is just going to dog them, but I really do give them the credit for, the fact that they really aren't that far off. They really aren't. I see potential in the Jaguars, as bad as their record is, as bad as their record's been over the last couple years. Even the Titans, too, like I said, I see, brighter days on their horizons, just not this season. But in the end, though, I think Tennessee should pull it out. They're at home, and that's really the difference. If it was in Jacksonville, I'll take the Jags. That's what it comes down to. This game's kind of a coin toss, although the numbers do favor Tennessee. They said, they're better when it comes to run the ball. They have better numbers, against the run and on the ground, running it themselves. And even though we don't know who's going to be behind center, I just think that with that running game, they should be able to control the tempo and control the game clock, and Tennessee should win this one. Like I said, it would be interesting. We could see some big, swings in the lead change. It could be like a 10-point swing this way, a 10-point swing that way. It could be crazy. Definitely be fun to watch regardless. I know I'll be watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who do you think Jacksonville's going to pick up their first win, or do you think Tennessee's going to get to 2? But leave a comment in the comment section below to share your opinion. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit the like button to let us know you enjoyed the show. How else would we know if you don't hit that like button? But if you don't like it, hit the dislike button. How else would we know that you don't like it if you don't hit the dislike button? And if you want more content, all you gotta do is subscribe, because we bring you plenty of content. We really do. We bring you upon further reviews and recaps for each and every single pro football game, each and every single week of the 2004 NFL season and the playoffs. We'll also be doing it next year too, so we're not going anywhere. We also are covering the baseball playoffs, and we're covering some college football too. We're covering the college football playoffs for sure. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. But as for now, we do our weekly show, The Wedge, along with all the other stuff I just mentioned. And we do quick picks, fantasy fortunes, weekly rewind, the Thursday upon further review. Check it out. That's our flagship. So we greatly appreciate you listening. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a great weekend, and enjoy all of the sports.